So, hello, and welcome to Truth You Can Wake Up To. I'm Samuel William. I'm speaking to you on the 19th of December 2012, and I'm here in Truth Towers in North London, otherwise known as my flat. So welcome to anyone who hasn't joined me before, to those who are hardened Truth You Can Wake Up To listeners. Hi. Now, it is concerning me, and I hope it is concerning you, this evil snake of a story which is going through the mass media matrix at the moment, which is about our very kindly political terrorists down there in Whitehall have decided that we all need rights. Now, there is a meme that is really propagating through the mass media and has done for many a decade that the British do not have a constitution, or if we do have a constitution, it certainly isn't written down, which really is a very confusing thing if you are aware that not only is the British Constitution written down very clearly, maybe not all in one document, we have a separate constitution and a separate Bill of Rights, which was written down in 1689. This Bill of Rights, of course, does not tell us and grant us our rights. It is a documentation of the rights of a dweller upon the land that is known as England. Now, what's going on here down in the corporate channels of Whitehall is that the cronies of Lord Emperor Cameron are attempting to pull the wool over the eyes of the slaves and inform them that they are very kindly, very moral, and they are very interested in our human rights. And we really need to refresh these rights and write them down for the modern age. Now, thankfully, in the news report today, it is shown that this little idea has been quashed for the time being, but they have set the date for now 2015, which is actually really only 2 years' time, where they're going to readdress the issue of the English or British Bill of Rights. Now, most of you would have heard of a lovely little control device known as legalese. Legalese is essentially the language of the law society based down there, not in England, but in the City of London, which is a sovereign city-state. All of those legal brains, those wig-wearing wonders that are down there in the Inns of Court, of course, were totally involved in the conspiracy to re-establish the royal family after the English Civil War. It was, in fact, down there in the Lincoln Court, as it's known, or the Lincoln's Inn, where the conspiracy was hatched to reseat King Charles II back on the throne. Of course, he retook that position as the British monarch in 1660. And it was after that period of 1660, down there in 1689, where finally a contract, if you like, was set up between the reigning monarch and the people. It was said that we now had a constitutional monarch, in that the king did not have the divine right of kings to rule over anyone he wanted, to extract funds or tributes, as they were once known, or taxes, as they're now known. He wasn't allowed to just merely extract money from the slaves. He had to provide some kind of suitable basis upon which to fund projects, which of course, sadly, over the next few hundred years turned clearly into socialism, of course Britain being one of the foundational socialist countries. Now, legalese, this strange and puzzle-like language that sounds particularly like the English language, but has various changes so as to dupe these very unsuspecting slave workers into giving up the rights that were written down for them in the British Constitution. Legalese uses words like person to talk about you. Are you a person? Well, a half an hour trawl, not troll, but trawl of the internet will inform you of something called the straw man. It will tell you that person is a legal definition. It means legal fiction and is actually a corporation, a straw man, as it's known. And this is the main control mechanism that is used by the Law Society to rule you from behind closed doors. Of course, many words that pervade modern society, even the word society itself, is a legalese word which is about controlling you and putting you into a little box where you can be pumped for money. And that is essentially what this is all about. Legalese is the foundation of what's called British admiralty law, the law of the sea. Now, the law of the sea can operate upon the land, but only under contract, which is why these legalese professionals, even if you're just talking about a police officer, is going to try and get you to contract with him by asking you various questions. The word, for example, resident. Are you the resident of this property? Is this your vehicle? Well, of course, resident and property and vehicle, these are in legal dictionaries, and this is a way that you contract with those who operate upon the sea. Of course, all of these sort of things were very crucially important during the heady days of the British slaughtering empire as they went off and did the sort of reign of terror over various continents and set up various colonies and provided arms and support to various warring factions in order to get a hold and a contract with that group that may win and prevail over that battle. Well, that battle, of course, now being forged in our very faces by those corporate political terrorists down there in Whitehall. What they want is to bring about a new Bill of Rights in the United Kingdom. Now, if we are not particularly careful as a nation, we are going to be duped into leaving the laws of the land. Essentially, the proposition of this new Bill of Rights, which the Conservative Party, but any government party is going to be producing, as it is definitely part of the agenda. What they're doing is they're sitting aboard an entity, and this entity is called the United Kingdom Corporation. Under British Admiralty law, it is essentially a ship. It is not based upon the laws of the land, it's based upon the laws of the sea. Its foundation is legalese. You'll notice that a lot of politicians are also barristers or solicitors. What David Cameron, or let's call him Captain Evil, is doing aboard this ship is that he's looking at the inhabitants of the land called England or called Britain, and he's saying, contract with me. I'm the captain of this very prosperous ship which is moving forwards. I'm going to treat you well as a captain. Now come aboard this luxurious sailing vessel called the United Kingdom Corporation. Leave the land. This is what the new Bill of Rights is doing. It's asking us to leave the land and go aboard the ship. Of course, once, if they are successful in getting even tacit agreement by the people to enter a contract to be legally defined as being aboard a ship and not being aboard being on land, then this ship called the United Kingdom Corporation can then be moored alongside, be part of this fleet of what is called the European Economic Community, the European Union. This ship, of course, will then be consolidated into one mighty galleon destined for nowhere. Of course, they don't actually need our consent to forge a contract with the entire nation. All they need is the lack of dissent. All they need is for us to not complain, to not actively say no to a new Bill of Rights. Of course, any of us, and myself included, of course, if this so-called social contract was ever to be forged, maybe not now, but maybe in 2015, I would be somebody who's going to be actively disobeying, let's say, this thing. Show me the contract is something that we each have. Show me the contract that I have signed. Show me 2 wet signatures. Show me the names of the people I am contracting with, because you can be sure that the real names in charge of this contract is not David Cameron. Did you know, an interesting piece of information here, which I came across not too long ago, did you know that Tower Bridge in central London, Tower Bridge, which is owned by the Corporation of the City of London, the Dragon, did you know that Tower Bridge is not a bridge? It is a ship. Sounds strange. It's got foundations. It's basically going into the ground. It's in a river. Doesn't move. Lloyd's of London, one of the world's largest financial institutions, a huge insurance company, corrupt to the core, no doubt, has Tower Bridge insured as a ship. Why would you need to have a building that is insured as a ship? Well, that's because there are certain things that you cannot do when you are on land. It is also sometimes rather inconvenient to actually go aboard a ship in order to do these things. It is interesting also to note that one of the honourable companies of the city of the Corporation of City of London has as a member Prince Charles. Prince Charles is a member of a company, part of the Corporation of the City of London, whose headquarters is an HQS. I think it's called HQS Wellington, which means headquarters ship. The headquarters of the company that Prince Charles is a part of is not on the land. What does he speak about when he goes there with the other people who are a member of that honourable company? Well, we don't know because it's shrouded in secrecy. Any way you look at it, David Cameron is a criminal. I call for him to stand down. And I think we all should call for David Cameron to stand down. Let's not recognise him as the legitimate leader of the United Kingdom. Let's not look at anyone who is part of a Conservative or Labour or Liberal Democrat or UKIP or any political party. Let's not recognise them as the legitimate representatives of the people of England or the people of Britain. That is my message. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, thumbs up, do all of those nice things. Leave me a comment. Until next time, goodbye.